OK/X, let's get this over with. I have been debating whether to tell this story for a while now. I speaks English with an apology, as it is not my first language. I live in a country called Georgia. After school is over one summer, I and several of my friends decided to go out of town a bit and a bit of adventure travel. The weather is beautiful and can be a very hot summer in Georgia, so I and my friends, 7 them all together, were enjoying long walks. The first few days, it was so much fun, drink and smoke, and we were laughing and everybody's having fun. However, we have a friend called Alex, and we were going with that little crazy man. Not a bad man, but he is not afraid of anything. One night, we were camping in the forest clearing. It's getting dark, so we will all go and get some more firewood, and I and my friend Locab, a knife, and go to cut the sticks. We are there because we have been drinking for a while and we get a bit lost. I and my friend are very frightened and hear rustling in the woods. This is a very dark, to find out what it is exactly, but it was coming closer. I call out and out comes running out screaming Alexei, trying to scare us. We laugh it off and say, yes, I was so scared I almost cut him. He said that our friends have not seen us for a while and came to find us because they are a little worried about us. As he speaks, the smell hits me like a punch in the face. I almost vomiting and ask him why he smells so bad. He tells me that on the way back, he wants to show us something. So, we walk back and I am still confused why it smells so bad. About a 10-minute walk, we arrive at what looks like a former bunker. Again, the smell hits me in the stomach, worse than what Alexei smells. Tears came to my eyes and asked if Alexei came here. He said he did, but even he was scared and went to find with us and come back. Locab is looking at me and says that he is not comfortable, but I want him around, because he has the knife and is a very strong man. We enter this bunker and it's so dark and so cold. But it is also completely silent. The smell is getting worse, because we are on our way to the bunker, and in the end I have to take off my shirt and cover the nose and mouth to stop the smell. As I take off my shirt and wrap it around my face, one of my friends pushing me to the ground and I know they run off laughing. I get up and I see them nowhere, but still hear them laughing in the distance. I do not see very good. I, for my part, in the dark and start trying to find a way back. As I was feeling along the wall, I feel my turn to go through something soft. My eyes focus on the dark and I just vomit everywhere. I just stuck my hand into the eye of the dead man. I look at it further to try and work out why he died, and I can see that around the neck a dent. I am so confused, because I do not see the rope to hang themselves. I understand that this is a bad smell that I smell. I just try and get back and try and decide not to kill my friends. Locab still had the knife. So, I'm just in a bunker, it pitch black, and I am calling out to my friends. As I was screaming their names, I hear something. I stop for a moment and it is completely silent, and so I ignore it. I walk a few stops, and I hear it again. At this time I was really scared and just start running. I can still hear the noise. I trip and fall over and the noise stops. I'm scared. I get up and hear the shuffling. It is at this point I realize that noise going on at the same time, I am moving. I take another step in the dark, and yes, I understand the two-step. One of mine, one of someone else's. I spin around and look behind me. I cannot see very far in the distance, but I do not see anyone at all. I take a step back. A moment later my step lands, I hear something else's move on the ground. I was almost crying at this point. Suddenly I feel a drip on my shoulder, my shirt off and wrapped around my face. I touched it and it is sticky, but it is still wet. I am stunned and just stand there for a minute. The distance, I hear footsteps and I think my friends and turn around and take a step forward. This step is the worst I've ever taken in my life. I felt cold, wet rope tighten around my neck. I walked straight into a noose and felt being cut up in the air. Now I can hear laughter. Open your mouth and try to laugh, that's what it sounded like. I looked up at the roof and see what haunts me to this day. I can see the outline of what looks like a short, bald man. He was naked, and he is the head of a body. But where his legs start is the mass and then 4 or 5 small stumpy legs sprouting out. How he had been gripping on the roof I do not know. I understand that it was in his footsteps that have been chasing me. A great big tongue hangs out of his mouth, and it comes down and wrapped around my neck. I try to pull it off, but the more I pull the more it tightens and yanks me up. I am not sure whether it's laughing loud or I just got closer, but it gets louder and louder. My eyes grow dim and I cannot fight anymore and I start to piss myself as a little girl. All of a sudden, I hear this terrible screaming and I let loose. I heard the footsteps of others before getting stopped up. Locab was making his way back because he only wanted to scare me, and I will drop badly, because I come from him. He brought the knife and cut the monster tongue, and I saw Scuttle off screaming and crying across the ceiling. I ran with Locab and leave the bunker. I'm so scared. To this day I do not know what it was and I do not want to go back. I gathered all my things and left the camp and walked back the same day, Locab and knife. It was 12 years ago. Since then I have never spoken to Alexei again, and Locab hanged himself last June. I'm only writing this story, because my therapist told me that it would be good to write it down and it's off my chest. My friends say that he went back to the cave for a year, but because they are close to the road and it is guarded by the military security forces. I went to try and it recently, but seems to have been blocked off. I can still feel it in my neck at night sometimes /X, so cold.